Well, and good morning and welcome to Trinity University and our doubles action here between St. Thomas and Trinity. And the Celts coming in. The men's side of the action are going to be on courts 1 through 4. And if you're familiar with Butch Newman Tennis Stadium, you know the courts run in a consistent row 1 through 8. And then, of course, we have the Owl Hill courts on the upper campus, the old Division I courts as they are. And both teams are going to be down here at Newman today. So the men will be on 1 through 4, and the women will be on 5 through 8. And we'll see if we can get maybe some bonus coverage of court number 5. We only have a limited number of angles to cover. But we should be able to bring lines 1 and 2 of the men's match. And I say just 1 and 2 because it looks like St. Thomas has only 2 doubles teams here today, and we will get into that here in a moment. And then, of course, the women's team will be off camera angles except for maybe a little bit of bonus coverage of their court or their line 1 situation. And we'll just see where the men's match is at that point. And so take a look. And this is if everything goes well. I know there was some last-minute potential changes here for the lineup. And so we'll wait and see if Coach Russ McMines was able to get the team that he wanted out there. Waiting for some players to be cleared for competition today. But here at line 1, it is going to be Lopez and Ware for St. Thomas and Settles and Wynn for the Tigers. And you can see Settles and Wynn taking the court now. And we'll start here on line 1. And we'll show you line 2 action as that one will probably be, it looks like it is going to be Hamilton and Pitts. So we will wait to see if that is the case. And we'll wait the early action, 9 o'clock start time. And of course, if you're familiar with the game, that it's a rough general guideline. It's not a TV start time, so we await everybody to take the courts, and we're glad to have you with us here early on this Sunday morning, a eventful week here at Trinity. A couple of conference softball games and conference baseball games taking place this week. And then this game was rescheduled for some action early this month. So today's the 11th, and maybe less than a week ago, this one found its way onto the calendar. So Juan Rodrigo Lopez and Jace Ware, both, well, Lopez is a junior out of Houston, and Ware is a sophomore out of Pampa, Texas. And on the Trinity side, Settles and Wynn have looked very strong here in doubles competition, especially as of late, getting into the Division III schedule of the season. Settles, the junior out of Claremont, California. And for Hal Wynn, the sophomore out of Sugar Land, Texas, attended straight Jesuit, as did Lopez, and Lopez the junior. Also Carson Steele on the UST team, attending straight Jesuit. And so probably some familiar faces amongst the two schools, as UST is relatively new here to the SCAC. And so looks like we are just about ready to get going. So it'll be UST to serve first. And with both Tigers up near the net, UST just lobbing it to the back. They'll be up 15 love. And if the guys haven't dyed their hair, I'm assuming this is Jace Ware on the service. Looking at the online roster, Ware is blonde and Lopez with blackish or brownish blackish hair. So should be easy enough to tell them apart, and that one into the net. So 15 all here. And took us a while to get started here on line one, and you can see the scoreboard behind us as Hamilton and Pitts already up 1 love on their side, and that one into the net. Apologies on that replay there. That one's long, and I believe there's the play back into the net, and I was just curious. Yeah, points St. Thomas, so should be 40-15. Must not have been. So now I will assume it's 40-30. Settles and win 8-5 on the season overall. 1-0 in SCAC play. And advantage now for the Tigers. Percentage-wise, with over 4 matches played together, this group is showing us why they're the number 1 team. Now, of course, they also played various lines, 1-0 at line 2, but 7-5 at line 1. 6-4 in their last 10 matches together. And that one, I believe, was called long here by Settles. Yeah, definitely long. Came in with a lot of speed, and it was hard to tell looking at it live. And that will put it into the tape for St. Thomas, and they will drop the first one. So Tigers will be up 1-0 here on line 1, and we are going to switch over to the action happening on line 2 in court 2. Where it is Haas and Head, and then Hamilton and Pitts here for the Tigers. Again, just 2 doubles matches And then there will be 5 singles matches to go, and we fortunately won't have coverage of that. As I mentioned, this one was a late addition and noon softball time that we had already had on the schedule, and we'll have to scramble from here after we're done. You can see the service here. It almost looks radiant in the glow, and you can kind of see some of the reflections off the windows there onto the court. The morning sun with some pretty clear skies here in San Antonio. I'll try to see if we can't figure out where we are in the lineup. I believe this is Race Haas serving and Tyler Head up near the net. And it's Hamilton on the top of your screen with Pitts playing up close. And this duo took it pretty quickly here on line 2 for the first game. I'll go long. Pitts calls that one a little bit wide. And the return, and we will see what the score is here at the changeover. Let's jump quickly over back to line 1, and working quickly already as St. Thomas is back on serve. And it is 2-1 Trinity over at line 2. So Trinity, and that all 3 of those games have gone break. And so we'll keep our eye on that one. It was 1-0 at the changeover here. And if players are updating their stats every time they go to a break, so we'll find out the scores at that point. A fantastic put away from Hao Win, splitting the Lopez-Ware pair. Now Lopez on the service. Nice reactionary from Ware. Get those back over to Settles. And then once again, Hao Win just finding the void between Lopez and Ware. Win's going to let that one play long. Over on court 2, it's Hamilton serving for the Tigers. They are up 2-1 after 3 games. And Settles just a little out of position, trying to get that one back across. And that one, I believe that was called long on the serve. Judging by everybody's reaction. Good bet, and then nicely done by Wen to put it down the lane. So we'll jump back over and catch Hamilton serving and get an update on the score here for line one. And it looks like the Tigers have taken a 3-1 lead here at line two. And moving along on line one, up 3-0. They've taken both of those during that pairing. So the first non-break when Hamilton served the last point. So here at line one, 3-1 lead here for Trinity. Opportunity for Hamilton to put it away, but he kind of left it open for the return. And that's a very nice job here from Head to give that one a good return back to Pitts, who put it very long. Got one eye over on line one, and it is currently wind serving for Trinity. So we'll see if we can't just keep you informed on what's happening. No, Pitts puts it into the tape. And I believe they're going to break, and it should be 3-2 when we return back to line two in favor of Trinity. And we will jump back to court one. Where it's 3-0 currently, and wind serving. That one floated back. And just how Wen is too good to be given an opportunity like that to put that away. And we'll make it 4-0 here at line one. As you can see, the players returning to line two. We'll keep you updated as that one's going. But you can see the scoreboard there in the back. 3-2 for Trinity at line two and 3-0 here at line one. It's actually 4-0 with settles. And when taking the service on beginning of this pairing here, and a nice return from Ware. Let's take another look. So far, UST's two biggest points, I would say, have come when both of the Tigers have gotten put back up near the front of the net. And then when not going to leave this one to chance. Taking the action that is needed. Line one moving very quickly at this point. We'll stay with it for just a little bit longer. before we switch back over. Pretty competitive matchup here on line 2. That one goes long. Make it a 5-0 lead here for the Tigers early on. Now let's jump back over to the action here. We'll take a look at what just occurred. This is the last point played. Beautiful return from Hamilton, and that'll put the Tigers up 4-2. Now Haas serving for UST. Hamilton at the top of your screen. And just wide. So I believe it should be... Well, I believe she called it in, judging by the conversation taking place. But potentially not. Maybe they're just retrieving the loose balls. We're going to assume love 15. And we'll see how it plays out and see if we're correct. Should be 15 on. I think even if Pitts gets that one up above the tape, don't think it was going to get past Tyler Head, who was all over it there at the front. And Bryce Haas leaves that one wide. Should be 15-30. Potentially 15-40 here. As Hamilton and Pitts looks to take the commanding 5-2 lead, and then they'll be back on serve when we return after their break. And Haas crossing up. His teammate, and we go to the changeover. I believe. Yes. And so back to court 1 action, and you can see the scoreboard. It's 5-2 Trinity over at line 2, 5-1, or excuse me, 5-0 here at line 1. Christian settles serving for Trinity. That one goes long. Make it 6-0 advantage for the Tigers. See over court 5, the third box up on the top row from the left. It's 3-2 Trinity. That is line 1 of the women's action. And if the men take care of business here, we'll throw in some bonus coverage of the women's match over at line 1. As the women were originally set to play up at the Hill Courts for this match. And then late yesterday in the evening, they decided to make the change to have both here. And Ware with a good open return settles with the backhand, just leaving it a little bit open, or perhaps closing it off a little too much. Couldn't get the follow through. Keep it down. And Wynn tries to go with the hard finish, and hopefully that comes back. Fantastic. As Christian Settles puts that one right into our camera. I'll take another look at the return. Fifth year of covering tennis here on the Tiger Network, and it was the first time I think that we've had one of the cameras not only hit, but hit and then kind of reset itself. Lopez with that one into the tape. He'll try again. Both Tigers up near the front of the net, and Ware just unable to do anything with the return. I think he saw what we were seeing with everybody up front. And I think he wanted to try to play it towards the back, but I think that was also maybe just reactionary and couldn't get around on it. And settles and win 8-5 record on the year so far, and fantastic job there from Lopez splitting them. 8-5 record on the year, and that includes quite a bit of competition against Division I, and a little bit more against Division II competition this year. So Trinity will usually play a pretty competitive schedule. They've played Baylor twice. Of course, Baylor at the time was number 2 in the country. That ball rolls in. And then they've played Rice twice, and they took a match against Rice. And then I also played Incarnate Word, another Division I institution that's just across the street here in San Antonio from Trinity. There. So 5 D1 matches. Yeah, nice return from Wynn, and a fantastic attempt here from Lopez. Go back and replay this sequence. Tigers will see reactionary from Nguyen, and then the between the legs drop shot from Lopez, and Settles ultimately puts it away. Fantastic from both. Now Settles will lob this one back, and we continue on. And that was some fantastic tennis in its own right there. And well deserved from St. Thomas. As after those two rallies, I think the only thing you can assume is that they would split. Sure, Lopez drop shot just gets put away, and they come back and pick up a point there, and that one's going to sail wide. And curious if it was 5-2 at the last break over on court 2, and you see Hamilton and Pitts in the water break have not gone to update the score yet. It looks like they are headed back out, so I assume that it's either 5-4 or 6-3. No, 7-2. My mistake. And so we'll see if this one wraps up here, and we can jump back to 2 and see if we can't maybe pick up if it is the last game over on line 2. It's 15 love for the Tigers over on line 2, and we'll make that change here in just a second. All over on line 2. St. Thomas trying to pick up a point here in the 7th game. Oh, excuse me, I believe the 8th game. That one's wide. And the Tigers, yes, the 7th game. We'll move to 7-0. Now back to line 2, where Tigers are looking to close this out. And they do. So we're going to go back. We're just going to hit the play button on the last couple of points here for line 2. And that one just long. I believe that put Hamilton and Pitts up 40 love. I think we went back to 2 points, and this, if I'm correct, will be the last point off the tape and out. And that was the end there. So the Tigers take line 2, 8-2. And we will be here for the 8th game for Settles and Win. Hamilton and Pitts 8-2 over Haas and Head. Race Haas and Tyler Head. Jordan Pitts and Wilson Hamilton Juan Rodrigo Lopez. And Jace Ware for UST. Christian Settles and Hao Win here for Trinity. And that one's long. So love 30 here now for the Tigers. Settles leaves it just a little bit open. That carries beyond the line. UST hoping to pick up. Their first game. Tigers have some work to do. Settles lays it down. And the return only to be sent long from Lopez, 15-40. And Win, great service, 30-40. Tigers technically up 2-0 in the match, and it's 3-0 if you count the singles match that was vacated out as well. Picking up 2 on the vacates. 1 on doubles and 1 on singles. And for the singles action, you can follow the men's Twitter account. They will have updated scores throughout, as they always do. And as we said, Tigers have some work to do. Hao Win bringing this all the way back from love 40 to deuce. Now advantage Trinity. And Christian Settles will put it away in a fantastic comeback here for the Tigers. Now, love 40. They come all the way back to sweep UST. And Settles putting the exclamation point on this one. Tigers take the doubles match. And let's get you over to the ladies' action. It's 5-2 Trinity at the last scoring update. And I did not get information here on the roster. So we'll just kind of sit back and enjoy the competition. And I've got a couple of headshots not on the UST roster, so that'll make that trickier to even take a guess. And, oops. I'm just trying to see what the score is now. 7-2 Trinity. And we'll get that right. And for Trinity, this should be Flores and Cushing. They've been very solid this year. An overall 5-5 mark, but 4-1 at line 2 and jumped up to line 1 where they're 1-4. And again, the women's team taking on some good competition here in the 2021 season. They've played non-Division III schools: Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Angela State, Texas A&M Kingsville, St. Mary's along the way. And that was their last match, St. Mary's. A 5-4 loss. And also they played Air Force. So a couple of Division I opponents, a couple of D2 opponents, and undefeated in Division III action. Recent wins at UT Dallas, East Texas Baptist, Texas Lutheran, McMurray, and Hardin-Simmons. So 5-0 in Division III action and 0-6 in not Division III action for Trinity's women's team. That one looked long from my point of view. Again, the men's action, they win both doubles matches. They're technically up 4-0. We will have more Tiger tennis coming up next weekend, as we will host Southwestern and Shriner on Saturday, and still trying to work out all the details. From what I know as of now, Southwestern is going to start at 10 a.m. The women's action is going to start at 10, and then Southwestern, with the same coach for both teams, they're going to play the men's action following the conclusion of the women's game. So 10 a.m. for the men, 10 a.m. for the women, and then the men will just take the court. I don't know if it'll be a set time they're going to let the women completely finish, or if men will rotate in as courts become available. And then Shriner's action will take place. Men currently set for a 3 o'clock start, and Shriner for a 4 o'clock start on the women's side. We'll have to see how that staggers out and who is going to be up here at the Butch Newman Tennis Center as opposed to the Owl Hill courts closer to the tower near Upper Campus. And that will determine what coverage is given. And so next Saturday, some more tennis to be found. The men currently sitting at 8-6. Undefeated in Division III play as well. Their losses on the year: Abilene Christian, 2 losses to number 2 Division I Baylor, and a 4-0 loss at Rice. They've defeated Incarnate Word 4-3, and they defeated Rice 4-3, both of those here at the Butch Newman Tennis Center. So when you look at Trinity's overall tennis records, it's not necessarily what you would assume to be a dominant program, but when a lot of those losses are against out-of-division competition, in fact, all of the losses for both programs are against out-of-division competition, it puts a lot of things in perspective. And a lot of sports you don't see a lot of out-of-division competition. Tennis, you see a little bit more of it. But for tennis to be able to be put onto the same ranks and be welcomed in by programs like Baylor or Rice or Air Force, I think it speaks volumes to the jobs that the coaching staffs have done here. Russ McMines on the men's side, and in his first year here for the women, Drew Cohn. That went into the tape. course, the entire tennis program still led by Butch Newman, and you can see him usually around the courts here, especially on game days. And it looks like the umpire made a overruling call. I'm not sure what the situation is there. Coach Cohn coming over from Haverford, where he was there for the last 3 seasons as their head coach. Before that, he was an assistant at Laverne, where he received his master's. His undergrad from Pitzer, Pomona Pitzer, over there near Claremont. And looks like that will do it for the women's match. And let's just jump back over to the scoreboard here. 8-2, I believe 8-0, and if Court 7 is still going on, Trinity in the lead 7-2. If not, then they would be sweeping there as well. So we'll leave you with that. Our doubles action has concluded. And we thank you for tuning in this morning, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And come back next week. We're going to have some more tennis. We host Southwestern, and then later in the afternoon, Shriner. But we should have action for both men's and women's on Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock. And we hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. And if you're a Trinity fan just looking for some coverage, we do have softball starting at noon. Take care.